Fire Call, the fire safety show with Division Chief Jim Sedaris.
Hi, my name is Division Chief Jim Sedaris, and you're watching Fire Call, where we take you behind the scenes of Sioux Falls Fire Rescue, get you that stuff that you never see on TV, and kind of meet some of our real firefighters. And we're going to go right away to a shout-out. Now, you can send me a shout-out, and we'll try and get your little quick note of your fire department on Fire Call. And this one comes from Alan, and he wants a shout-out to the firefighters of Paynesville Fire Department in Paynesville, Ohio. This shout-out's to you. And if you got a shout-out, feel free to send me an email about it. Now, get right into some of the questions. This first question comes from Steve, and Steve lives in Blue Point, New York. Steve must watch a lot of TV because he wants some answers to those questions that he doesn't understand on TV. And the one thing he wants to know, hey, what makes up the irons? He hears that all the time on TV and probably from firefighters around there. Well, I have Jeremy Price. Come on in here, Jeremy.
Hey, Chief.
How you doing?
Good.
Good. Now, irons. Tell me, what is a set of irons?
Typically, a set of irons consists of a Halligan tool and a flathead axe.
Okay.
And a lot of times they're carried together like this up to a fire scene. And it's usually like the first set of tools you take out when you jump out of the truck.
Why is that?
Forcible entry.
There you go.
Yep. Halligan is like a Swiss Army knife for a firefighter. It's good for forcing doors or propping doors open or breaking windows.
So you can jam that into the door,
Yep.
and then what are you going to use your flathead axe for?
Well, usually we work in a two-man team. One guy will set the Halligan in the door.
And then we're going to do
The other
bang
guy
her
will
in.
bang her in. And then we can force the door by leveraging it open or
So there you
whatever
go.
you need.
Use them a lot. It looks like they've been used quite a bit.
Yep,
So have you opened a door yet here?
I have.
All right, that's what I want to hear. Okay, well, Steve, thanks for your question. And if you have a question, you can email it to us at firecall at our website. And if you get it answered, and we only answer really the good ones, you get a Sioux Falls Fire Rescue T-shirt.
Ooh.
And this is sassy, Jeremy. Look at
that.
that, Fire
Wow.
Call on the side. So email me those questions, and we'll try and get an answer. But we are getting a lot of questions, so if you don't get your question answered right away, hang in there and keep watching. So let's get on to the show. There you go.
Thank you.
This next question comes from Ethan. Ethan lives in Sioux Falls, and Ethan, I apologize. I used terminology that you didn't understand. A couple of shows ago, we talked about a rollover, and Ethan wants to know, what's a rollover? Well, you start talking to firefighters, and there's different terms for different things, but what a rollover is when the flames roll over your head. They're following that heat up at the top of the structure. They'll be rolling over, and that's what we were talking about at that fire, was just rolled right over the top of us. A rollover can also mean a car that has been in an accident that has rolled over. So sometimes it means different things, but I'll try to do my best, Ethan, and make sure that you understand next time. Thanks. This next question comes from Haynes, and Haynes lives in Austria, which is the opposite part of Australia. And he wants to know, what do safety officers do on scene? Now, we have a safety officer class going on, and I'm with Captain Craig Hanna. Now, give you a quick backup on Craig Hanna. Craig Hanna has spent more time waiting for water to come out of a hose than most of our firefighters have on the floor. And you gave me the best advice when I started, back in the old days, when we used to ride on the tailboard of fire trucks, in the back of fire trucks. Told me, never let go of the truck, don't get off the truck until it stops, and never tell a driver how to drive. So I appreciate that. So Craig, now tell me, what do safety officers do on scene?
On scene, Jim, what they do is they basically walk the entire circumference around the burning structure or hazardous material incident or special operations incident, and they're just looking to make sure that all of the firefighters that are on the scene are not committing any unsafe acts, whether it be not having enough ladders to a roof when they're doing ventilation, whether it be them not keeping track of the people that are going in and out of the structure. That's part of their duties in our organization. And in hazardous material incidents, they have extra responsibilities, such as they have to have a written site safety plan. So there's a lot of things that they have to do that people really don't think about, and that's why we bring them out here to train them, so that we get them thinking about what it is they need to do in the different situations.
Now, I remember a call you were on, because there's a lot of calls you were on. You were the safety officer on the Morels incident, where we had We both had a hazardous materials release with, I think it was ammonia. We also had 100 patients that were transported out, or right around that amount where they were seen. Now, as a safety officer on that scene, what special concerns did you have? Because I remember that was quite an involved incident.
Well, I really had a lot of concerns, mainly my people. I always pay attention to my people. That's my biggest concern. But also, we had a very large cloud of ammonia that could have potentially affected a lot of citizens. So in that aspect, what I do is I advised the incident commander of different things that he might not have thought about. For instance, notifying the media to get the word out to those people that, you know, you might want to evacuate your home, or you might want to protect yourself in place, close all your windows, all your doors, shut down your heating and air conditioning systems.
Now, the safety officer is the only person that can shut down the whole incident. Is that correct?
Well, he really can't shut down the whole incident, but what he can do is if something is going on where somebody's creating an unsafe act that it could affect him or anybody else, not only does he have the authority to stop that act, but he has a responsibility to stop that act. He needs to do that. If something's going on that isn't safe, he needs to stop it. And then going beyond that, once he stops the procedure that is unsafe, then he needs to inform the incident commander that, hey, I made a change in your operation here. And so then we stop, we regroup, and start over.
Now, what's this training specifically designed that's different? Because not anybody can be, we can't just grab someone and say you're the safety officer. They have to go, we require all these people to go through specific training. So what's this training, and what makes it different than regular firefighter training?
This is a National Fire Academy course that we're teaching here, and what it does is it gets them a little more thinking about the safety issues, because we teach them firefighting when they come through here. We go through drills, but not always do we think of safety of the entire crew, the entire operation. And like I said earlier, in a hazmat, hazardous materials situation, there's certain things that need to be done to follow the government guidelines when it comes to USAR tactics or incidents.
Urban search and rescue.
Urban search and rescue, whether it be rope rescue, water rescue, stuff like that. You have to realize that firefighters are results-oriented. They like to get in, they like to do things. So they're not always thinking. They're thinking about the situation at hand. So the safety officer, he's kind of looking out to make sure that they don't commit those unsafe acts.
Basically, they're kind of like dad telling the kid to...
Yes. he's babysitting.
Well, thanks a lot, Craig, and I'll let you get back to your class.
Well, we have to do it out here in 2 minutes.
Here's a quiz. It's time to be either a hero or a zero. Tom's in this suit. Now, what's this suit used for? A, firefighting. B, aircraft rescue. C, hazardous materials response. Or D, water rescue. The answer is C, hazardous materials response. And now you can see the guys in action using these suits. Hazmat calls are one of the most dangerous calls we go on. And I'm with the crew of Hazmat 7 and Captain Long. We're going to ask him a few questions about what the training was. Dan, what was the training now? Why is this training so important?
Well, we do training annually, both out at the water department and out at water rec, because they use chlorine, and chlorine is a very hazardous gas. And if you breathed it, it actually makes hydrochloric acid in your lungs. So it would be very toxic to anyone that breathed it. So we have to learn how to take care of it without injuring firefighters or anyone else around, and without letting it get out into the public.
Sure. Now, when you do this training, it looked like it's pretty labor intensive. How often do you do this kind of training?
Well, we actually train at the station all the time. And when I say all the time, we have trained for this 3 or 4 times this year, amongst many other hazmat things that we do. But we train for this because this is one of the real possibilities in this city. This is one of the more common things that could happen here.
And you're with the guys from water purification now. How often do you train with them, and do you find that training valuable as far as knowing who the people are?
We do that annually. And it gets them confident in us and us in them. So it's good to get a familiarity between the two departments. Also, it gets us familiar with the building, because obviously we're not here every day to work in this building. So we find our way around, and we could find our way around a little easier. Of course, they'd always be with us if we had a problem, but it makes it easier for us to conceptualize what we're going to be doing.
Great. And this is for a cylinder that has the chlorine in it, but the tops of the cylinders are all the same, and so the tools you can use are pretty much universal from tank to tank?
Right. The 2,000-pound tanks, they're universal. all over the United States, they'd get the same type of tank as we have, and they haven't changed for years.
Great. Well, thanks, Dan. We'll track down Tom Reel here in a minute. I'm with firefighter Tom Reel. Now, Tom, you're at Hazmat 7, and I got to say, it looked like it was about as hard to pick your nose wearing mittens as it was to work in those suits. What's it like to work in those suits?
Well, the suits are very hot. They're very cumbersome. You got a lot of visibility issues there, so it makes it a lot difficult than just looking at the equipment right now where I'm standing and doing it without the suit. So it makes it very tough.
How much of a team do you need just to get your suit on? Now, we noticed it took a lot of work getting you in the suit and out of the suit. Do you have much of a support team that they know some of the key elements to get you ready to go?
Yeah, we have 4 on the hazmat team, so we have 2 extra guys that can help us get on our suits. So a good 2 people plus me getting on my suit is a good thing.
So you're one 4-man team, and we have 2 others. We have 3 4-man teams through the city. Now, how does that work? Do you train with them too?
Yes, we train with them. Like today, we have all the teams on B shift here, and on alternate days, I'll have A shift and C shift will be here too. So.
Now, I noticed with the tools, there's a couple things. Everything's all yellow in this kit. Is that your favorite color, or what's going on?
Basically, we have 3 kits, an A kit, a B kit, and a C kit. An A kit is for the 100-pound cylinders. That's red. And then we have a B kit, which is yellow, which is for these 1-ton cylinders. And then we have a C kit that's for rail cars, and that's green.
So that makes it a lot easier than in a high-stress environment to locate all your equipment.
Right, and this is all color coordinated. We know this is for the B kit. It's bigger, so when we use our cumbersome gloves, easier to work with.
Now, how often do you do these drills?
We do them quite often. We did it about a month ago with water rec. Today we're doing it water purification. So we stay on top of it quite often.
Great. Now also, I got to throw a pitch for you. You were in the Guard. You were in another fire department before you came to us. What's your background?
My background, I started off EMS, paramedic school, got interested in firefighting through that. We did some vehicle extrication during paramedic school, so decided to go in the Guard and get certified as a firefighter, and then got a job, my first job in northern Minnesota. And then when a job opportunity came down here, I took it.
Oh, America's Fire Department. Okay, thanks, Tom. Our next question comes from Jack in Sioux Falls, and Jack wants to know, what's so special about Truck 3 that you keep talking about? Well, Jack, take a look. This bad boy will go up 102 feet, and it's one of the best in the country. We're going to have FAO Joel Van Ekeren tell us all about this truck.
Yeah.
Joel, glad you're here. Now we have some questions about Truck 3.
Okay.
Now, how long you been driving?
About 13 years.
You like it?
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges when you got a truck this big to be driving around, tooling around the streets?
Mostly right-hand corners.
Why so?
Because it's so long and it's hard to make that corner if you have cars in a turning lane and you're trying to avoid the curb.
Now, when we're setting up Truck 3, why are they laying out these metal pads?
Well, the metal pads are going to be for the outriggers that are going down on this side right now, and they'll be coming out here in a little bit, but that's to give it stability. If you're in a soft spot, or it gives it like a base.
So these outriggers are basically just giving a nice platform to lift off of?
Yep. Solid base.
And then the driver then drops down the outriggers. Now, how do they know how high to lift those outriggers?
There's a couple levels on the back and on the side. And what he'll do is like right here's pretty level, but if we were like on a high side, he would lift the high side first, then the low side, and then on the back there's an auto level that he can hit.
Now, when you look at putting this truck up, what are some concerns as a driver that you have to worry about when this truck goes up?
Well, first of all, we got to make sure that the outriggers that they have enough pressure going down. Okay, otherwise it's gonna move. Some other concerns: overhead lines, trees, any obstructions, anything that's unsafe. When we operate the truck, there's supposed to be an operator at the pump panel, which is on the other side, one on the turntable, and then 2 people in the basket.
Okay.
And the guy on the turntable, he's watching for any obstructions.
Now, when we put this up, this goes up how many feet, Joe?
About 102 feet.
And for someone that doesn't know how high that is, about how many stories?
Well, a commercial building is 10 to 12 feet per floor. So about a 10-story building.
And it's and we're going to get up there in a bit. It takes about an average of just under 3 minutes to go from pulling up on scene to putting this all the way to the top right now.
Exactly.
Okay, Joe, I have some questions for you now. The basket's right above us here. Tell me, why do we have what's some of the configurations of things on the bottom of this basket?
Well, that little thing right there that looks like a sprinkler head, that's what it is. So we can open and close that in the basket, and if we're fighting fire, let's say we're doing a defensive mode and we're over top of a structure that's burned through, we can open that sprinkler and it keeps the under part of the basket cool.
So
safety.
There you go. Now, there's also lights. Do you use the lights very often?
Yes. It lights up like daylight when it's dark out. We can turn them on, and then we have a generator on the truck where we can turn some bigger spotlights on, and it's a safety thing. It shows us where we're at, where we're going.
And then what do you use the hooks for?
The hooks we can rappel off them top hooks up there.
So any type of specialized rescue where you need an anchor point above you, you're good to go.
Yep.
Okay. Well, you ready to go for a ride?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, Joe, let's take this stick up for a ride. Now, as this goes up, you can control this from both up in the basket or on the platform?
Yes. Now, if the guy at the platform sees something unsafe, he can override me. He can just grab the controls and I'm done.
Okay, so that's our safety factor. If you don't see some power lines or some dangerous condition pops up, he can override you at any time.
Exactly.
One of the things as we're going up that the view up here is terrific, but when we start working at these heights, is there any concern about dropping equipment, anything that firefighters need to be concerned about when they're operating off these baskets?
Well, we're totally enclosed in here, and that shouldn't be. The only thing we're going to be doing at this height probably is fighting fire, and we'll be using that nozzle right there.
Now, this is a really smooth ride. I remember the old days where the ride up was scary as anything. This is pretty much just like an elevator going up. Now, we're up 102 feet by the computer, and this is pretty darn accurate.
Yep.
Now, when we're up here, you can control the nozzle and water flow, correct?
I can only control the direction of the nozzle and the stream of the nozzle, but I can't control the water flow. I can turn it on and shut it off.
Now, how much? What's the maximum flow out of this that we can get?
It's 2,000 gallon per minute nozzle.
Any concerns when we're flowing at an angle off this, or is it pretty much straight off the platform?
We need to be concerned. Kickback, it'll move it, and wind.
Okay. Now, Joe, when we're operating this truck, can it be sent up unmanned and used basically as a water tower?
It can. I never have.
Okay.
The fires I've been on with it, somebody's been in the basket.
And then that somebody is then controlling the nozzle and where the platform is as far as your relationship to the operation?
Exactly.
Or how is it mostly done?
On the zip feed fire, I was the only one in the basket because of manpower. So all I did was I controlled where the basket went and where the nozzle went.
Now, what other tools do we have up here? We got pick head axe, pike pole, and the ladder.
Yep. In here we have inline breathing air on this truck. There's a big tank down below.
Explain that. What's that mean to Jack's gonna email me a question saying what's inline breathing. So I don't want him to waste his time. Let's just get it out of here in the open.
All right. So if we're on a prolonged scene and heavy smoke, whatever, we wear our air packs up here, but we can turn a tank on down there and set the pressure so that air comes up here, and we can hook a line into our air packs and bypass the tank and just breathe off of that big tank that's down below.
Sounds great. Thanks, Joe.
Yep.
From up here, you can see going on the call. Watch him go through the traffic. Big thing is, when we have these calls, we want everybody to pull over to the right side of the road. Gives us an easier way to get to that call. We're going to be coming up on a pretty busy intersection. And see how far they're actually going out into the oncoming lane to get around traffic, and that's just nature of the beast. One thing that these drivers are highly trained on is defensive driving. Although they're driving in the oncoming traffic, their training and their level of proficiency in driving those big trucks allows them to do that safely and ensure we get to the accident or get to the call and that we don't create or are in an accident ourselves. Welcome to the Institute of Technology. This is where we delve into those topics of firefighting and answer some of those tougher questions. Now, this firefighting isn't all fun and games. Almost 100 firefighters a year are killed from fighting fire, from collapses, from a number of injuries. So this is a serious question here that we're going to talk about. Two people wrote almost similar questions, and they're worlds apart. One came from Clinton in Sioux Falls, and he wants to know, is there such a thing as a backdraft? And if there is, what is it? And my buddy from Chile, Mauricio, asked the same question. And he's a firefighter. He wants to know, how do you prevent it? So we're going to talk about those real quick. But when we look at these backdrafts, it's something that very dangerous thing for firefighters. What happens is we have a building, common in a house. Every firefighter, every fire needs oxygen to burn. Okay, so you got this oxygen in the building, you got a fire going on, fire's going on in the building, cooking inside, building's sealed up tight. What can happen is you burn up all the oxygen. The oxygen needs to be present to get this fire going. Oxygen burns out, fire's still hot. Temperatures are going up, there's plenty of fuel in there. It just needs oxygen. Now we talked to Jeremy. He's got the irons. We have to teach our firefighters to be very cautious on these type of fires. What happens is if you kick in the door, you bust in the window, all that oxygen goes in, and you have one heck of an explosion on your hands. You get all that free-flowing oxygen goes in the building, it blows up. You have an explosion called a backdraft. Now, there's some simple signs that we can look at. We teach all our firefighters these basic things. We look at the smoke. A lot of times you'll have smoke coming out of the eaves that puffs out. Almost like that fire's breathing, because it is. What's doing is trying to suck in oxygen, push out some of that waste product. So it's sucking in. Same thing on doors. The windows of these fires usually heavily charred. So you're not going to see in real easy. Now they're going to be in most fires, but they're going to be heavily charred. And that smoke can almost be a yellowish, grayish color. It's not going to be our typical smoke. And we have to be very cautious of that. We get a good aggressive firefighter, not thinking, doesn't have his head in the game, just kicks out that door. Again, we have a major explosion. Now, how do we prevent it? Because I know Marcinko is going to ask me, how do you prevent it? What we do is we have to be very cautious in ventilating these. If we see we have a backdraft scenario, we want to get up here, ventilate probably that roof, get some of that heat out of there, vent that out, and then go in. Vent it out, and then go in. Very dangerous situation, and on some of this video, you can see what happens. It can be just a huge explosion. Take out firefighters very easily. So, I hope that answers your question. A dangerous situation is something we teach our firefighters to be very careful of, because we want everybody to go home when they come to work. Again, we're not selling widgets at Wally World. This is life and death for all our firefighters. When the bell goes off, there's always a chance something can go wrong. So I hope that answers your question, and keep those tough, serious questions coming in. Thanks. Hey, it's almost wrap-up time because they're kicking me off there because I'm talking too darn much. Hope you liked the show. I had a great time hanging out with Truck 3, 102 feet, best view in town. One quick question. This comes from Eric. Eric lives in Thompsonton, Maine. He wants to know, how many ladder trucks do you have? Well, true ladder trucks like this one, we have one of these and we have 3 quints. So we have 4 ladder trucks, Eric. I hope that answers your question. Another last shout out. This goes to Tom. He wants a shout out to the firefighters of Belmont, Massachusetts, out in the East Coast. You can feel free to send me some lobster. No heartbreak with that. If you do have a question or a shout out, hey, we'll send you a shirt. Of course, everyone wants a Sioux Falls Fire Rescue shirt. And you can get one of these for your question. Now, I have people actually calling me up saying, Jim, you haven't answered my question. Let me tell you, we're getting too darn many questions. So it might take a while to get your question. We're still getting to some questions from October and September. So hang in there, keep watching. We're going to get to your questions sooner or later, and hope we answer some of those hot topic questions. Now, next month, one of the biggest questions we're having is about the Explorer program. We're going to have some fun with the Explorers, and we're also going to talk about how you can help the city, how you can be a firefighter, and we're going to get the chief in to talk about how to be a firefighter for Sioux Falls Fire Rescue. So hope you had a good time. I'm having so much fun here. I'm just going crazy and feeling a little giddy. So see you next month. My name is Division Chief Jim Sedaris, and you've been watching Fire Call.